There's only two things in the world that should ever, ever, ever have this point of view when I open the trunk of my car. Either a tennis racket bag or a dead body. Luckily, it's the former. And we are in technically still northern part of Milwaukee. We're about 10 minutes north of downtown Milwaukee at Elite Sports Club North Shore, where I believe there's like 12 indoor tennis courts, because I've got a tennis string I need to play test for you guys before I head out for nationals in Surprise, Arizona, to represent not only Wisconsin, but all of the Midwest in a national tournament for both singles and doubles for 5, 18 and over. So with that out of the way, this is my Yonex PolyTour Tough tennis string review. Yonex tennis strings, along with almost anything Yonex, are extremely expensive. Whereas most premium polys with really good performance are around $160 per reel, the premium poly strings from Yonex are on the upwards of $200 per reel. FYI, do not buy the Yonex PolyTour Strike. It is extremely expensive and totally not worth it. I will leave a link to that video in this corner if you haven't checked it out already. Yonex is positioning this string to be for tennis players that break a lot of strings, which is obviously admirable. And surprisingly, a full 660 reel is only $89, at least on Tennis Express, which means that each full bed racket is only about $5.56. A pretty damn good deal if you ask me. However, one turnoff for me as a stringer is how cheaply it feels when weaving the crosses. The whole texture of the strings feel very plasticky, which is a direct contrast of the two of the best performance round polys, the Yonex PolyTour Pro and the Technifiber Razor Coat. These two soft polys felt like premium tennis strings when stringing them on the playtest rack. But you know what's not cheap? And you know what's not expensive at all? In fact, it's free. Tennis Underground. It is my podcast that is on YouTube, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music, where we talk about extremely controversial topics in the tennis world. Subjects and topics that might often get tennis coaches fired if they voice their own opinions. And many subjects are extremely not safe for work. So join me on this sleigh ride to hell that airs new episodes weekly while we laugh and cry about the stupid stuff that goes on in the tennis world. With the first impressions and shameless plugs out of the way, let's see how the Yonex PolyTour Tough actually performs on the tennis court. No break-in period. Awesome. I love a good start. However, just like how the strings felt while weaving the crosses, this string does feel cheap and hollow until you really start swinging at top speeds. It also makes a stupid picking sound when you don't accelerate properly from the baseline. On the bright side, the power was absolutely on point with this string. It wasn't severely overpowering and it wasn't underwhelming at all. It felt like where it should be. However, this string only generated decent topspin unless swinging absolutely freely. If you hold off on the acceleration even by a small margin, the ball will not dip down as you probably expected, often finding your ground stroke sailing a little bit long past the sideline or past the baseline. The slices from the baseline were average. Nothing good, nothing bad, just average. I really wish the ball bit the ground a little bit more to stay low. I will say, however, the flat ground strokes for this was an A+. If you like taking balls on the rise, hit with a lot of approach shots, or hit with a flatter swing path from the baseline, seriously, try these out. At the net, these strings were slightly above average for punch volleys. The direction was good, but a lot of my volleys landed shorter than I actually expected it to be. The finesse shots at the net were damn good though. Even from no man's land, I felt like I could confidently hit drop shots, pick up volleys, and drop volleys, no matter what type of ball the opponent was giving me on the other side. It's no surprise that the flat serves were much appreciated from what I experienced with the flatter ground strokes. The slice, or side spin serves, were top-notch too. Both of these types of serves were with good precision and good pace. However, I was slightly disappointed with the kick serve. Yes, there was topspin on the kick serve, but it never really kicked extra to the left of my opponent to draw righties to have a backhand return. Hopefully, an awkward one. I just wasn't finding it with this string. Honestly, I'm very happy that I discovered this string. It's nowhere near perfect, but for the price, I could see some people really turning this string into their go-to for both practice and match play. And even for a 16L gauge string, the Yonex PolyTour Tough has still not broken yet, whereas some round polys at the thicker gauge of 16 might have already snapped. This string is like a softer and much cheaper version of the overpriced Yonex PolyTour Strike. And yes, it is a very, very close cousin to the ISOSpeed baseline speed, which is the 16L version of the ISOSpeed baseline control. I also did a string review for that. I'll leave a link to that in this corner if you guys haven't checked it out already. But enough about me. I want to know about what you guys think. Have you tried the Yonex PolyTour Tough? If not, has this video convinced you to at least take it for a test drive? Leave a comment down in the section below, or better yet, join my Discord server where almost 1,000 people are constantly discussing tennis equipment, pro tennis matches, pop culture, and retail discount codes to save you guys money when purchasing from online retailers. This playtest was 6 hours of hitting time with a 16L gauge of the string because the regular 16 gauge doesn't exist. It was strung in my Babolat Pure Aero VS at 52 pounds. I do have a shoe review coming out in the next week, but I might get a bit hectic because I'm going to Arizona to represent not only Wisconsin, but the entire Midwest in a national tennis tournament. And yes, I will be vlogging the entire 13-day trip. And as always, guys, happy hitting.